What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a Legacy deck centered around the combination of Electrode Prime and Mewtwo-EX. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, helps us out a ton, and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And if you are new to the channel here at TTM, we are a collaborative channel where there is not just the TCG content, which is why you clicked on this video. We also have draft format content from myself and two others, and our Discord reflects that. So if you are interested in more than just the TCG, please feel free to subscribe or check out our Discord, where we do have talking channels for TCG, draft format, and Smogon content. And then as for the question of the day, so I've done decks centered around Electrode Prime and Electrode GX, and I think have there been other Electrodes? Yeah, the magnetic draw one, but that's not really what I'm going for. But basically, what Electrode has most in common amongst its many iterations is the fact that it likes to blow itself up. Now, that isn't just like a completely detrimental, oh, kill itself. No, it's just, it is a blow itself up, your opponent takes the prizes, but you get something out of it. The ones that come to mind for me are Electrode Prime and Electrode GX, who both blow themselves up in order to get you to attach energy from either the discard pile or the deck in the case of Electrode Prime, and from the discard pile in the case of Electrode GX. So yeah, I mean, it's basically blow them up, your opponent takes a prize, but you get to attach energy. However, they do it in two different ways. Electrode Prime lets you accelerate energy from the deck, which you would inherently think is a little bit better. However, the downside is that you have to discard 7 cards off the top of your deck regardless, and you get attached energy. So you lose 7 cards no matter what. It's just a matter of luck of the draw whether or not you get a good amount of energy out of that. Whereas Electrode GX, while it gives your opponent 2 prizes, which I mean that is essentially 2 Electrode Primes, you get the guaranteed 5 energy cards from the discard pile. So my question of the day is, which would you prefer? Would you prefer a 1 prize mon that has the ability of Electrode Prime? Like, okay, say you're in the standard format right now. Both these cards are in the standard. Which one would you use? Would you use Electrode Prime, where you discard 7 cards and it's just luck of the draw? Or would you use, well, but it's only 1 prize. Whereas Electrode GX would be 2 prizes, but you get the guaranteed 5 energy cards from the discard pile. Which would you prefer if you were to build a deck around either of those? Honestly, even though I'd be giving up 2 prizes, I have to go guaranteed. I'm a chicken. I don't like risking stuff, so I would have to go with the guaranteed acceleration of Electrode GX. Just make sure that my deck is built such that I can take most advantage of those guaranteed 5 cards. Whereas Electrode Prime, like, yeah, you can have a situation where you get 5 energy cards from your deck with Electrode Prime and only give up 1 prize. But I have had way too many instances where I've blown up and only gotten a single energy. Heck, even 2 energy off of an energy might is considered negative, just because, I mean, you blew yourself up to accelerate 2 energy. You gave your opponent a prize in order to only accelerate 2 energy. Like, I prefer the guarantee as opposed to the taking a chance. And yeah, I have some cards in this deck that can alter that, but that's just me. I am not a risk taker. I would prefer Electrode GX over Electrode Prime, but that's just me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. But anyway, on to the deck centered around Electrode Prime and Mewtwo, and quite frankly, it is a super straightforward deck. You blow up Electrode, put a bunch of energy on Mewtwo, and just kind of run through whatever your opponent has set up. It is very straightforward. There's really not a whole lot to explain in terms of like setup and stuff like that. I mean, we have a couple other tech attackers, but they are very self-explanatory in and of themselves. You have Darkrai, who not only gives free retreat, but can attack with Night Spear. You have Virizion, which allows us to work around Hypnotoxic Laser and other status decks. And then you have Sigilyph, which is able to work around GX decks. Or GX, wow, I've been playing way too much standard format. Is able to work around EX decks. So, I mean, it's really just super straightforward. What do? You blow up Electrode, attach energy to whatever attacker you decide to want, or do you decide that you want in a certain matchup, and just go to town. Just start blowing stuff up with your attacks, and hopefully your Mewtwo with enough energy can just run through whatever your opponent has set up. So very, very straightforward. As for the numbers of mons, just going to start from the beginning and work my way down. 2 Smeargle to help us set up with Portrait. You just, basically with Smeargle, you get the ability to get another supporter for the turn. However, I do have to warn you, there is a glitch with Smeargle. I thought they had fixed it, but they have not, where if you Portrait, but you have not played your supporter for the turn, you will not be allowed to play a supporter until you switch Smeargle out of the active spot. So I just want to warn you guys about that glitch. Like, it still hasn't been fixed. I don't know why they haven't fixed it yet. I've reported it multiple times. But yeah, I mean, if you have Smeargle, you Portrait for a supporter, you are not able to play a supporter until you get Smeargle out of the active spot. It's a stupid bug that has cost me way too many games. Just a heads up when you are using that. 2 Darkrai, because not only does this give us the free retreat of Dark Cloak, we can also attack with Night Spear. And even though we're not running any Dark Patches, Electrode can just accelerate all the energy we need in order to attack with Night Spear. Did I say Dark Spear? I meant Night Spear. But, I mean, 90 and 30 are very, very good for just sniping down stuff. Like, if you want to set up things for KOs, if you want to try to keep your opponent from getting too set up, Darkrai is very, very nice for that. Just as a good backup attacker to Mewtwo. Single copy of Virizion-EX because we really don't need to use this mon for anything other than its ability, but the fact that we are running Blend Energy with Psychic and Dark, which powers up both Mewtwo, Sigilyph, or all of Mewtwo, Sigilyph, and Darkrai, the fact that it has a Grass on there, we can take advantage of that with Virizion in order to not be affected by status conditions. Another thought was running Victini-EX in this deck to help with the Genesect matchup, but I just kind of was like, you know what, we run enough techs, let's not run Victini-EX in this deck per se. I do have another Darkrai Victini deck that I can use later on, but for the time being, we have enough techs, we just went with it. 3-3 of Voltorb and Electrode Prime, because normally you want to blow up 2 Electrode. Like, 2 Electrode is normally what you blow up in each game, so being able to consistently and quickly get those and get those set up so that you can attack for big damage is essential. 3 Mewtwo, because that is what this deck is centered around. 2 Sigilyph as a backup attacker, because there are enough EXs in the Legacy format to where you can pretty reliably run into them and you want to force your opponent to have to play around them. 4-3 of Dual Ball and Level Ball for our search. We're not running any Ultra Balls because Electrode is the only mon that we cannot search out with Dual Ball, and I mean, it has 90 HP, so we can just search that thing out with Level Ball, and that's all we need. 4 Junk Arm to reuse our items, because there are a lot of items that we would really like to reuse, and we want to run multiple copies of them, but I mean, just how it works out, just Junk Arm just allows us to reuse things in certain situations. 2 Random Receiver, because I mean, like I was just talking about with Junk Arm, Junk Arm can turn into a supporter if you have a Random Receiver in the discard pile. It's also a nice way of just being like, you know what, I need a supporter, I'm going to play this item down, and I'm going to get me a supporter. Now, it doesn't guarantee that you get a draw supporter, because we do run a couple twins in the deck, but it still gets you a supporter, so you can work with that. 2 Research Record. Now, this is our way of working around the fact that Electrode just blindly discards the top 7 cards of your deck. So what Research Record does, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and put as many of them back on top of your deck in any order. Then the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So basically, you look at the top 4 cards, be like, okay, I'm about to discard a bunch with Electrode. What's energy and what would not be energy? So let's say you get like a Dual Ball, a Level Ball, an Oak, and a DCE. You put the DCE back on top of your deck, and you put the Oak, the Level Ball, and the Dual Ball on the bottom of your deck. Now, it might seem like, okay, well, you're just guaranteeing yourself only a single energy. It's not really that worth it. Yes, but you're also increasing the odds that the other 6 cards are energy, because the bottom 3 cards in your deck are guaranteed not energy cards. So it's just a nice way of trying to increase your odds of getting the maximum possible value out of Electrode. 1 Super Rod to put energy back into the deck, because Electrode can only accelerate from the deck, and we have no acceleration from the discard pile, so it's a nice way of doing that. 3-4 of N and Oak. I might go, I don't know, maybe in the future I'll go 4-3, but because we're blowing up Electrode, and it would be a nice way of taking advantage of that. But for the time being, I like having twins as my way of taking advantage of the turn that I go for Energy Might. So 3-4 works nicely for me in terms of shuffle draw. 2 twins, because when we blow up an Electrode, our opponent takes a prize. We are suddenly down 1 prize. Twins allow us to just search our deck for any 2 cards, just help our setup that much more. and put them into our hand. So not only do we get the acceleration of Electrode, we also get to search our deck for any 2 cards, which is absolutely invaluable in a lot of cases. To Eviolite, I could have gone with something else, but I figured that we're throwing enough energy onto our Mewtwo's that it should be able to get sufficient one-hit KOs. What we need is longevity, because if we power up a Mewtwo with like 10 energy, we don't want that thing getting knocked out even in 2 turns. We want that thing lasting as long as possible. So Eviolite definitely the item, the tool of choice, and then a single copy of Life Dew, because if we throw that onto a Voltorb, then we can blow up with Energy Might, not give our opponent prizes while still getting the energy acceleration. And then with Junk Arm, we can reuse that. So in the perfect situation, we never give our opponent a prize with Energy Might. And then we are running 16 different energy, 4 blend, 4 DCE. Just, I mean, those are the best ones for the deck. And then 2 dark and 6 psychic, as that's what our attackers use. So yeah, I've talked for way too long. Let's just go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Henry, and I don't know why I said we found one against Henry. I mean, he and I, like, he's the one that I do all these against. I'm just so used to saying, already we found one when I'm doing ladder matches. But of course we found one against Henry, and not quite sure what deck he's running. So, yeah, I mean, we saw, like, grass, we saw dragon, we saw fire. So yeah, I mean, I told him I was using a fun one, so hopefully his is a fun one as well. And we start off with actually some very good stuff. I mean, I start off with a Mewtwo and a couple Voltorbs. I have an Eviolite that I can definitely take advantage of. I have the research record as well if I want to go for that. Hoping that I can draw into a DCE so that I can start attacking immediately, but he is going to start with a Smeargle. And that Smeargle is going to be able to copy my end, so I will be able to get a better hand than what I start with, as I know 100% he is going to go for Portrait, as I mean, that's really what you do with Smeargle first turn, you Portrait, as it lets you really get things going quicker, but unfortunately he does have the Execute, so you know what that means. There's going to be a ton of propagation going on in order to, well, he grabs the second Execute, so ladies and gentlemen, we are about to see a bunch of double propagating, and that is going to be, that's going to be a pretty interesting situation, and by the interesting situation, I mean it is going to take a very, very long time for each turn. But I mean, like, that's what you do. Like, if you're in a deck where you really can't afford to get rid of resources, you run the double Execute. So I mean, like, I'm not knocking him at all, as I do that in plenty of different decks. I'm just saying that in general, when you run double Execute, your turns take a lot longer, just because, I mean, like, for instance, junk arming into a computer search, that's 4 different propagations just for a single play. And I mean, like, it's the right play, like, it definitely is, but, and especially now that he has the computer search in the discard pile, every junk arm can easily turn into a computer search, so that's going to honestly just bring up a situation where things will take a little bit longer than we necessarily would have thought or necessarily would want. But I mean, like, hey, that's what we're up against. Like, that's the type of deck that we were up against, and so we roll with it. He is going to Ultra Ball. We'll finally get to see what type of deck he's running, and we see the Tepig. So because of the dragon typing, this is going to be Raybor, with, I'm assuming, a Reshiram thrown in there. So that's going to be unfortunate for us, as we rely on our opponents having a bunch of energy on them, and Rayquaza and Reshiram both discard the energy off of them. So I don't know, this is going to be a rough matchup, I think. But regardless, he is going to potentially end me now, maybe. He's gonna energy search, probably just grab a fire that he can throw into the discard pile if he has a Juniper or something like that. As, actually, I don't know why you would, well, I guess if you run superior energy retrieval, which if you have double Execute, you would definitely do. But he is going to finally Portrait with the Smeargle. I'm going to get my fresh hand of 6, and hey, there's the DC. That's exactly what I want to see. As well as a dual ball where I can hopefully get a Mewtwo and a Sigilyph out. We see the Reshiram come down. That's kind of to be expected. It's your way around Safeguard Pokemon, so unfortunately Sigilyph will be a deterrent and nothing else. I mean, he easily has counterplay around it, particularly as I have no stadiums in this deck, so he will have the free retreat with Smeargle and Rayquaza all game long. I don't run... I mean, I don't think there's a way to... Is there a card that just discards the state? There probably is, like, Paint Roller. But I don't think that's in, like, the Legacy form. I don't even know. But yeah, he is going to go ahead and just Junk Arm for the computer search. I mean, that's the play. But it just makes for a very, very long turn. All things considered, especially when I haven't really gotten anything going yet. Like, I've literally played down my Mewtwo and 2 Voltorbs, which, to be fair, is still a very solid opening turn. Or opening hand, rather. As I haven't even had my turn yet. But I mean, yeah, like I said, with the executes, like, I mean, it's been almost 5 minutes, and I haven't even been able to make my play just yet. We do finally see the Rayquaza come down, and am I going to get to have my turn? Maybe, yes, there we go. All right, just under 5 minutes in, and we are able to finally get a first turn going. But let's go ahead and dual ball for... Ooh, we get a double heads. I was initially just going to grab a Sigilyph, but I think I'll grab a Sigilyph and a Darkrai. I'll probably want another Mewtwo that I can put energy on after I blow up my Electrode, and then good Junk Arm, but I really don't think it's worth it at this point. I kind of just want to save that for later for like a research record or a Life Dew or an Eviolite or something like that. But let's go ahead and Random Receiver, get an Oak, and then actually, you know what, I shouldn't have done that because, I mean, he now knows that I have an Oak in my hand, and he's going to be able to Portrait off of that. So yeah, that was not... I didn't think that through. I was just kind of like, okay, I want to play all my shuffle cards first before I play my research record, but I really should have just held on to both of those. So let's put the blend energy on top. Because I mean, I'm going to be shuffling my deck anyway when I play my Oak. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter. I was hoping that maybe I could draw into, like, if I got, like, an Electrode and then 3 energy off of those 4 cards, then I would have just been like, oh, okay, well, Electrode first, and then let's put those 3 energy right there so I can blow up, and, yeah, so I can blow up and get actually a pretty good situation out of this. We played another game, he and I played another game before this, where he was pulling ahead, I got an Electrode set up, and then I blew it up, and I completely whiffed, like, not a single card... I didn't get a single energy off of that Electrode, so I discarded 8 cards, gave him a prize, and got nothing out of it, so I just kind of scooped on out of there as it was just kind of a body bag. I think it was against Plasma, too, who has a good matchup against Mewtwo regardless, just because, well, any deck where you throw on a bunch of energy, especially one with Mewtwo in it, where Deoxys with just an energy and a Plasma energy will be able to one-shot you, so it just wasn't a good matchup. Like, he body bagged the absolute crap out of me to where it wasn't even really worth recording. Just, I mean, it was so bad. It was really, really bad. And then that 8 energy, or that 8 card discard that Electrode essentially turned into. I mean, what Electrode essentially was in that situation was make this Pokemon faint, give your opponent a prize, and then discard the top 8 cards of your deck. Which, I mean, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Would be amazing. It'd be like, wait, so if I just discard this card, then I can mill 8 cards from my deck into my graveyard? Yeah, that's great. But in Pokemon, it's like, well, there goes all those resources, and I put my opponent one step closer to winning the game. That, yeah, not ideal. Not ideal. But he is starting to get things going. I mean, I'm kind of going on these tangents a little bit more than usual just because the double propagation of execute leads to some very long turns. So, I mean, really, like, I mean, he's doing everything right. Like, he's able to finally get up in Emboar as we see the rare candy come down, and if it's not an Emboar, I will just be absolutely shocked, but obviously it is. I mean, literally could be nothing else but Emboar, but all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, Rayquaza has 2 evolutions. What? But yeah, I mean, I'm going on these tangents just because the turns are much, much longer, like 8 minutes in, and we're finally able to make our second turn. Let's play the energy onto the Darkrai just because I don't know if he plays like Enhanced Hammer or Lost Remover. I mean, you definitely run Lost Remover over Enhanced Hammer in this situation. But let's go ahead and play my second Random Receiver just because, I mean, it increases what Electrode is able to do. Like, increases the odds of just having energy in the deck for Electrode. So let's go ahead and Junk Arm. Get rid of the Voltorb and the Level Ball for a research record. So that, again, I can increase the odds of getting the most energy off of my Energy Might and then like the Eviolite I can just hold on to. Okay, so there's 1 energy in the top 4, and I can put these 3 cards on, these 3 non-energies on the bottom of my deck. So that should actually put me in a good spot, or good enough spot to where I know I'm at least getting a single energy. And then let's just put the Oak first, because even though I'm going to shuffle my deck before that, like I know I am, it's just better to have the Oak first just in case. And okay, I hit 5. Wow, I hit 5 cards out of that. That is amazing. And sorry, I misspoke earlier when I said I discarded 8 cards with Electrode. It's only 7. Don't know what I was thinking about that was 8, because Electrode GX is just 5 cards. So I was thinking about something where it was discard 8. But let's go ahead and put the DC onto Mewtwo, or the energy onto Mewtwo, so that I can have the free retreat. Let's power up Sigilyph so that I can Psychic and potentially knock out the Smeargle. And then, you know what, let's just put another... How do I want to do this? I want to put 1 energy on that Mewtwo, and then another energy on this Mewtwo. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Give him a prize. Unfortunately, I didn't draw into my Life Dew, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And then let's Eviolite up the Mewtwo. Okay, so I definitely want to Eviolite up the Mewtwo, as that's going to make him get a 4 discard Dragon Burst, as opposed to 3. So I definitely want to play that, but I don't want to play it if he's going to Tool Scrapper. But do I want to risk the end? No, I think I'll just accidentally play it down on the thing that didn't need it at all. Well, that's one way to not have to worry about an Eviolite at all, or how to play an Eviolite. Just play it onto something that it doesn't benefit whatsoever. Oh, that was dumb. It's like, okay, do I play it onto Mewtwo now, or do I play it onto Mewtwo later? Neither. None of the above. You play it onto Sigilyph when Reshiram will still OHKO it through the Eviolite. Brilliant move. Oh man, that was something. That was definitely something. Yeah, not a good move, and that's going to be very bad, because now Rayquaza can just, oops. Yeah, I'll have to... Well, you guys saw a quick... I accidentally right-clicked onto the TTM tournament tab, but yeah, you guys get a sneak peek at what happened to the TTM tournament. But either way, he will just go ahead and be able to knock out my Eviolited Sigilyph through the Eviolite, through the -1. But hopefully... I need a DCE with Mewtwo if I'm going to knock out the Reshiram this coming turn. So man, I really should have just... Okay, so that was me just not knowing how to play the matchup. He will be able to knock out my Sigilyph. And then I need a DCE with Mewtwo if I'm going to knock out the Reshiram this coming turn, because 5 energy on Mewtwo and 1 energy on the Reshiram just is not conducive to knocking out a Reshiram. Like, that's just a bad situation. That's just bad juju. Just bad juju all over. And with the double propagation, he's going to probably get another Emboar, I would think. Or, I mean, he could be getting something else, maybe like a second Smeargle. For once this Reshiram goes down. So, I mean, I should have played the single energy that I put onto the far right Mewtwo. I should have put onto my big Mewtwo and just kind of gone all in. But I was kind of like, I don't know, I was like straddling the fence in terms of, okay, do I want to load one big thing up, or do I want to spread my energy around? So I was like, okay, I'll almost load one thing up to where I can get a knockout. But then I'll also put 1 energy on something else to where it can't even really attack or do major damage. So I really just kind of did the worst thing possible in that situation. But he is going to Junk Arm for a rare candy. Get another Emboar up, that's fine. We see that there are superior energy retrievals in the discard pile. And I mean, he discarded an Execute and an energy. I mean, that's fine, because he's going to be able to just get that back with superior energy retrieval later, and with the double propagation, won't even really matter all that much. And yeah, Reshiram does knock out my Eviolated Sigilyph. I was so close. So close. But I'm going to go ahead and promote the Darkrai. Of course, you can do that smiley face when I misplay. But I top deck into an Oak. That is huge. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is Oak, hope that I draw into a DCE, and... Ooh. This is nice. So I'm guaranteed going to get the knockout on the Reshiram, but what I can do now is Junk Arm, get rid of both my ends for the Eviolite, so that it does force the Rayquaza to have 4 energy in order to knock out my Mewtwo. So that actually worked out perfectly for me. Let's knock out the Reshiram with the X-Ball, take our prize, and now we're actually in a good situation because I don't even have a supporter in my hand that Smeargle can portrait. So unless he has a supporter in his hand, I'm pretty sure I'm just golden to essentially win the game, or like just start taking knockouts to where Rayquaza will eventually go down. And also what I can do is, okay, so he starts getting energy onto Rayquaza. Do we see another energy? He's going to portrait, and he's going to whiff. I don't think he has a supporter. Actually, you know what? He still very well could, and just wanted to portrait when he had one card in his hand, because if I had like a Juniper or something, he would just Juniper away the Tepig, and especially seeing that it is the Tepig, like that just confirms. So, okay. Uh-oh, I get the Twins. I want to get that out of my hand immediately, as that could be something that would be really, really beneficial for him to use, as it just gets 2 cards, so he'd be able to Twins for a superior energy retrieval and like a computer search, and then with the double propagate, he'd be able to pull out of that immediately. So I want to get rid of that Twins ASAP. Let's grab the Level Ball, as I think I kind of want to blow up another Electrode, especially... Actually, you know what? How do I want to do this? Do I want to get the supporter, or do I want to try to blow up an Electrode? Screw it. This is an Electrode deck. We are going for the blow up on Electrode to get more energy on the board, see if I can get a Night Spear going to where I can start putting those Rayquazas in range of Mewtwo, of my 6 energy Mewtwo. So we're going for that, and if I can hit even just a single energy off of this Energy Might, I'll be golden. So I hit 3. I get rid of some good stuff, all things considered, actually, which is unfortunate, but let's go ahead and play the Blend Energy onto the Darkrai and the Psychic as well. I'm going to save the Blend Energy for the Mewtwo on the bench so that it can... Actually, you know what? I'm going to probably just put it on the active Mewtwo so that it can have 160 damage worth of energy on it. That way, even if I'm not able to Night Spear as much as or if I'm not able to Night Spear multiple turns to get all of the Rayquazas in range, Mewtwo can now still just one-shot a Rayquaza with a single Lightning Energy on it. So, I am able to knock out the Tepig. I don't even get a supporter off my prizes. That is beautiful for me. And at this point, yeah, he's in top deck mode. Like, he has to top deck out of this, or my Smeargle, or not my Smeargle, or my Darkrai will just get the sufficient damage, because all I need is just one more knockout on a non-EX, on something else, for Rayquaza to come up and Mewtwo to be able to just one-shot that thing to where he will not be able to take prizes without essentially losing the game. Like, he has to reversal in my Mewtwo and knock it out with a 4 energy attack in order to win. So I actually dual heads off of that. I'm going to grab the Virizion and a Smeargle just because why the heck not, and then... yeah, let's Night Spear. He can't even... It doesn't even matter what I draw into this coming turn, or what I draw into off of my prizes, as... yeah, he doesn't... I mean, I could have gotten a supporter there and it wouldn't have mattered, just because Smeargle... like, he doesn't have a Smeargle on board. And if he even played one down, like if he top-decked into it, then he would have to use his retreat for the turn to where he would have to draw into a... where he'd have to draw into a switch as well, in order to not only portrait, but then also attack. So, it looks like he did get... something up. Superior energy retrieval. Okay, well, I think what he's going to do is just knock out my Darkrai, but then at that point, Mewtwo has enough energy on it, and Rayquaza... Actually, Rayquaza doesn't even need the damage on it. Like, I could have just knocked it out with the 6 energy I had beforehand, but now that I have 8 energy on Mewtwo and he has 1, I'll be able to hit for 180 damage, knock out this Rayquaza, and win the game. So he is just going to superior energy retrieval, play... go for a 5 energy Dragon Burst, going to do 300 damage to my Darkrai. I mean, that's overkill of the Sentry, but all I have to do at this point is just go straight into my Mewtwo, give him... I'm going to give him a little sad face. Just because, I mean, like, it was unfortunate. It was definitely unfortunate that he drew dead for so long, as that definitely allowed me to win the game. Would have been interested to see how we go. Actually, I think we would have lost if he was able to... Actually, we definitely would have lost if he would have been able to knock out this Mewtwo, as I was kind of all my eggs in a single basket in this situation. Let's just go ahead and X-Ball, knock out the Rayquaza EX, and we will win the game. Drawing another DCE would have been nice. Only 8 energy, so not near the 17 energy that I had when I went up against Orbon with Xerneas Break, but you know what, that was... I can still consider 8 energy a decent win. Actually, it wasn't even half that. Wow, I had a ton of energy on that Xerneas. But I think I am going to end that there. Once again, big shout outs to Henry for playing me, for like being around and allowing me to get this legacy content, because like I said in the last video, I had been sitting on the ladder for a very long time just finding nothing, but because of Henry, I'm able to not only get legacy content, I'm able to get good legacy content where we can have full matches where I'm able to show off what a deck can do against other good decks and against another good player. And if I'm using another fun deck, then like he has fun decks that he can bring too, so I'm not just getting destroyed by like Plasma or Lando, Garbodor, Mewtwo, like that type of stuff. So huge shout outs to Henry for just being an awesome dude all around in general. Thank you so much to everybody that watched this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.